Today's knife, I thought for sure, was going to replace my Viper Vox Fortis as one of my all-time favorite knives. It didn't go so well. Hey, I'm Jay, and if you're looking to buy a knife and you need to see what it's like first before you drop your hard-earned money on it, here's what you gotta do. Click on subscribe so I can help you, and remember to click that bell notification so you don't miss a thing. So all of the specs that you are currently looking at, I personally measured myself. I just don't like getting that, that stuff, relying on another website, because the measurements are not always right. What do you say we go ahead and start with what I like about this, and then some of the potential deal breakers of this Spyderco Shaman. But first, let's do some knife comparisons. Of course, another Spyderco PM2. And how about the Manix 2? Let's do the Benchmade Bug Out. And how about one more? That ought to do it. The Spyderco Native 5. I absolutely love the blade shape here on the Shaman. It is by far my favorite Spyderco blade shape, and really all it is just a much larger version of their Native 5. So when I first heard about this knife, I was very, very excited, because it's just like, well, when you have a good thing, isn't getting more of it even better? Not always, but we're going to talk about that. A feature that I am increasingly looking for when I purchase a knife is the forward choil, because to me it just really feels right to have a forward choil. So I enjoy that the Shaman has one, and not only that, but it is a very large one as well. The blade is, now my version features a black DLC blade, and of course this is flat ground with a very wide profile, 1.39 inches. Love it. 3.7 millimeters thick, and of course that's going to be CPM S30V. There are two areas of jimping on the Shaman. So one, of course, is here on the blade spine for your thumb, and then the other, where the heck is it? Oh yeah, in that forward choil that we were just talking about. Deployment, well, it's a compression lock, so it's gonna be just about the same lock as your standard run-of-the-mill PM2, and I've got to say I am rather impressed with the amount of chamfering and rounding going on here on these G10 scales. Feels very, very nice, very comfortable grip, especially, well, for me, this, when I choke up on it, that feels more natural than, say, back here. But again, that's just me. Now the traction on these G10 scales, how do I put this? It's okay. It's not, I wouldn't call it slick, and I definitely would not call it tacky or gritty. It's just kind of in the middle. If you have drier hands, maybe you may have some troubles with this handle. But yeah, so the traction, we're just going to say that it is okay here. The pocket clip, 4-position locatable. So what, tip up, tip down, righties and lefties. Very awesome. Thank you, Spyderco. Now, as with all knives, we have to get into some of the potential deal breakers. Before we do, I would love to quickly remind you to go ahead and click on that subscribe button if you're looking for knife reviews that get right to the point. So the first deal breaker is, well, to me anyway, is probably the most important. So I just want to go ahead and get it out of the way. First, the price. Yes, $190. That's a lot of money. That really is. Especially, do you remember when this came out? I think it was going for like $140, $150, but this was one of the models that was released right when Spyderco was increasing all of their prices. Remember that? So yeah, that was great. Let me go ahead and grab the scale, and we're going to see how much this is going to weigh you down. Now, before I go ahead and hoist her up on the scale, I want to try and show you that there are, in fact, steel liners on the inside, and they have been skeletonized. So let's see the effect. Yeah, we're looking at about 5.2 ounces, which is going to be roughly the equivalent of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It looks like 6 AA batteries, or the combined weight of the Benchmade bug out and paramilitary 2. Now, there is one common complaint that I really just want to talk about with you, and it is going to be regarding that little like nub that's going to be right here at the Ricasso. So, I mean, like the Para 2, you know, you can completely operate it without ever placing, you know, your fingers in the path of the blade. I mean, you just hold the compression lock and swing it around. It's great. Unfortunately, that nub kind of prevents you from doing that on the Shaman because, watch, so when I go ahead and close it, see if you guys can see it when it comes through. Right there. Yep. So that hits your fingers, that hits your finger first, leaving the blade, I don't know, something like that. I mean, I understand why Spyderco did this, and I've heard some say that it's a big mistake and a flaw, and it's not. I mean, do you honestly think that Spyderco would not have noticed this? Really? So I get why it's there, and it is to just add that extra room between your finger and the sharpened edge of that blade, because, you know, I guess you potentially could, if you had you pushed hard enough down in the well of that compression lock, maybe they were concerned with you, like, yeah, cutting yourself. So I get it. I don't like it, but I do get it. Now, a slow, controlled, rolling, like, deployment on the Shaman, for some reason, it does not feel right to me. It feels just a little awkward. Kind of like, how can I explain it? Like, I am really having to, like, stretch my thumb out farther than, say, like with the Manix 2, for example. Yeah, that one. So my thumb isn't going out as far, but it is on the Shaman. So that's why it just feels a little awkward to me. Centering. See if you guys can see this. Yeah, it is actually off. And I did attempt to adjust it. As you can see, I was unsuccessful. But yeah, it's off. And just a little bit to the left, it looks like. When I did try to fix this, you know, I would loosen, tighten the pivot screw, but when I backed out the pivot screw, like, I'm talking an 1/8 of a turn, then all of a sudden there was blade play. I could not believe it, that I just barely turned the screw to loosen it, and all of a sudden the blade play was introduced. I thought that was weird. I didn't expect it. And the next potential deal breaker is going to be regarding the pocket clip. While I appreciate the heck out of Spyderco for making it switchable to, one of 4 positions, it is just not deep enough for me. I mean, you are going to have a considerable amount of handle sticking out of your pocket. So now that is just going to be, one more expense for an aftermarket, like deeper riding clip. The closed width, so how much room this is going to take up in your pocket, 1.64 inches. Now I realize it's not the end of the world, but some of you, when it reaches and passes that 1.5 inch threshold, it causes you problems, and this is at 1.64. The inside edges of the handle, they are actually kind of sharp. I was not expecting that, especially since, the price, and since they did such a fantastic job of rounding, chamfering everywhere else. But yeah, it's just a little on the sharp side. No, will not cut you, but it may feel a little uncomfortable. So I guess now, where does that leave us here with the Spyderco Shaman? Where are we gonna land? And well, I want to say first and foremost, this is just an absolutely gorgeous. It's a beautiful knife. I mean, aesthetically, it is everything I had hoped for, and more. Just gorgeous. That's why, coming to the conclusion that I'm about to is really, really kind of difficult for me, because I just love the heck out of the appearance. Right out of the box now, if we did talk about the pocket clip already, but right out of the box, you're gonna, at least I know I plan on replacing this. So now that's what, 25 bucks for a clip, and that is just an added expense for a knife that is already, I feel, overpriced. I mean, is this worth $190 to you? That's something you could let me know about down in the comments section, because I would love to hear your thoughts on that. But I think for me, I think that I'm going to hold out for the lightweight version, whenever that is, of the Shaman, or maybe even the carbon fiber one, and a lefty compression lock. That would be great too. Oh, heck, who knows? There are sprint runs with S1 or S90V. I mean, they could really, there is a lot of cool possibilities here. But I think that this probably isn't gonna stick around, and I'm gonna hold out for those other versions.